Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today, we are going to start with the new topic of media discourse analysis, right? And the topic under discussion is language of documentary. And this topic is very, very easy. And I think that after discussion, all of you will be able to speak yourselves on the topic, and all of you will certainly be, and those especially who know how to write will certainly write it in their own words. So this is very, very easy topic. Okay. Before moving forward to the definition of documentary, let us compare the documentary with film or movie. So over here it starts with the thing that what is the difference between documentary and film? Generally speaking, documentary is certainly presentation of real life. In documentary, all those realities of life are always means put forward to audiences which are around us. But over here, you will also find uh, means a little bit objection. The objection is that, for example, all the documentary movies are not presented as it is. So certain type of edit always takes place. Now it is up to the presenter that either he is going to present a documentary as it is, or the real one, or he is going to edit it. So all these points will certainly be discussed over here today. As far as the film is concerned, all of us are well aware of the point that in movie we have fiction. Fiction means characters are there, story is there, certain type of changes always takes place in movie. So this is the main difference between these two. That documentary is considered as the real one, whereas movie is considered as fictitious or not real. The clearest the clearest distinction between two is their relationship with the reality. What is the relationship of reality to movies or to documentary? A fiction film presents a story that is not based on reality, right? Or at least not in the form it is represented. A documentary, however, tells something about the reality of our world. In other words, we can say that shows us the real world, but what reality are we talking about? For example, if we say that a documentary presents the real world, then again the question arises that what is reality in our means point of view? There are several cases where it is difficult to draw distinction between fact and fiction. Even the experts fail to make this distinction sometimes, and can be seen by the case of The See That Things, which won the Joris Evans Award at International Documentary Film Festival, right? And this was the documentary. And it was presented in Amsterdam and was within a year in the competition for fiction film of the Dutch Film Festival. It means that this documentary, when it was presented in the form of documentary, then it was awarded. And then when the same documentary was picturized or presented in the form of film, and then it was again means got award. So now see that here, the little bit a difference between these two is of the presentation, and it is up to the presenter or the a documentary maker that how he is going to present it. Consequently, there is a significant difference between documentaries and fiction films. Traditionally, documentaries are generally short film and are based on the facts, while fiction film are not. And their fiction films are based on facts. This traditionalist view of documentaries has changed slightly in recent years with the directors such as Michael Moore providing documentaries which are heavily edited and hence not entirely based on the facts. Now see, this was the traditional definition of a documentary. Okay, that overall documentary means that when the reality of life is presented. Okay, but now in this modern age, here the name Michael Moore has been mentioned that he was a person who presented documentaries but with the heavy edition in it. So when something is edited in documentary, it is no more documentary, but it will be film as well. Now here, documentary versus the topic is, the point is documentary versus fiction filmmaking. Now let us see that what is the difference between these two. There are many definitions of the term documentary, but no one could certainly define the term documentary as a whole. Okay, so now see that we have different type of terms over here, and these terms have been defined by the various means educators, philosophers, and others as well. But sometimes we don't have the exact definition of the term itself. For example, take an example of poetry. What is poetry? That we don't have one definition. We have so many definitions of the poetry. For example, poetry in the eyes of William Wordsworth is something else. In the college, something else. And other poets also have defined the poetry in their own way. So it means that sometimes we have a certain type of terms which they not have the exact definition of the thing. Now see, it is up to the uh, readers, or it is up to the documentary makers to define the same in their own way. We can say that it would be up to the documentary maker and how he would define his or her particular style of documentary. So now, so again, the same thing has been mentioned over here. So we don't have overall, we can say that we don't have the exact definition of documentary movie. John Grierson of the founding documentary approaches confirmed that the documentary was distinguished from other shapes of film with reality. Reality means desire to bring the citizen's eye in the form of ends of the earth, the story. His own story of what was happening under his nose. It means that documentary, he has given the definition of documentary, that whatever is happening around us in the world, the same is presented before us as it is, means in a real way. That is called documentary. So this is one of the definitions. And from Nicholas's perspective, documentary is the representation we already occupy and stands for the particular view of the world, one we may have encountered before, even if the aspects that is presented are familiar to us. Oh, yeah, the words are different and etc. The thing is quite same. That whatever we have experienced in our life, whatever has happened before us. For example, take an example of uh, Karachi, the factory in Baldia town. Okay, and certainly it was the greatest havoc for the people of all over the country, and if we say all over for all over the world, then it would not be wrong to say 240 means people of different ages, male and female, was burnt alive. Okay, and it is in our knowledge, and we have experienced it. We have also experienced the same in different type of photographs in movies, in newspapers, on television, and etc. So it means that it is in our experience. So if documentary documentary is made and presented before us, what we will do first, we will certainly compare our own experiences with the documentary that is being presented to us. Now, now we will decide, are each and every uh, audience spectator will decide that either the documentary is based on reality or not. What we have done, we have watched the documentary, especially in the light of our own experience. So this is the Nicholas's perspective or idea. All these definitions may provide a different definition of the term, but all these definitions indicate that documentaries are based on facts. So overall, we have concluded one thing from all the definitions, that documentary is based on real situations. Okay, our documentary documentaries are based on facts. Thus, documentaries by definition must be non-fiction. Now see that if we simply confine ourselves to definitions of the documentary, we will certainly find it non-fiction. Con- Commentary commentary and opinions are allowed, but misinterpretation is not. Now see that only one thing that is permissible or permitted, especially in documentary, that is commentary. Commentary, that when a documentary maker means aids his own sound in it. Otherwise, misrepresentation. Misrepresentation means addition at large is not acceptable in documentaries at all. But But in the last couple of decades, with the success of filmmakers such as Michael Moore, there have been certain changes in the documentary making. So in few decades, these people have brought greatest changes, especially in documentary making. What are those changes? Let us see. And this is the best example over here. And all of you, certainly, if well aware, are those of you who are well aware of the situations of the world, they will certainly find it out. Firstly, some documentary filmmakers now aim for commercial success when they create a film. So number one, certain documentary filmmakers works for their commercial purpose or for their personal motives. In a, acha. And second, in a development related to the first issue, or for example, if the one documentary has been presented, they will certainly come out with other documentary, and they will certainly bring change in it, in order to make the people feel that it is based on fact, or it is the real one. Some documentary films are in fact fictionalized to some extent through misrepresentation and omission. Now, see, certain documentary films are made especially in order to bring the change in the brains of the people, and certain type of changes are always made over there. For what? In order to, in order to, in order to put the new idea regarding the happening in the brains of audiences. Again, Moore can be best example uh, of this change in documentary making. He moves such as Bowling for Columbine, okay, and Fahrenheit 9/11 have several clips which have been manipulated or edited in the manner to provide meaning different from the actual meaning of the speaker. Moore's work will still be categorized as a documentary because his clips are still from facts, but the representation is manipulated to give a different meaning, sometimes completely out of context. Thus, Moore's work is a mix of fact and fiction, but is still categorized as documentary. Now, see over here, only very little in the brief example. Sorry, brief examples have been given over here. And the name of documentary maker is Moore. Now, see, 9/11. 9/11 means that when the greatest happening occurred in USA, or especially in the Twin Towers of USA. In order to, and those who made documentary certainly afterwards changed it. For what? In order to present the new idea in the brains of people. And overall, that idea was t- terrorism. Terrorism. And certainly, it was reported in documentaries that thousands of the people were present over there or when this happening took place. And certainly, terrorism was associated with Muslims. Certainly, there was the greatest type of politics at the international level behind these uh, 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 Twin Towers in USA. But it was not at that moment considered, and all the sympathies and means all the feelings and emotions were along with the people who suffered a lot in the means greatest havoc which took place in the Twin Towers of US, right? So now see that when documentaries were presented, then certainly they were based on such and such type of things. But again, people like Moore and others certainly tried their level best to put forward an idea that was entirely changed. So over here, either a certain type of modification was brought into the documentary uh, uh, over there, and there were a number of things which were edited, but in spite of all that, it Moore's work falls under the category of documentary movies. A new debate, okay, uh, okay, a new debate surfaced in the same context in recent years. Now, see, the same debate is rampant in the world in these years as well. While the Puritans have described the making of uh, docudramas as corruptions of the documentary genre, there are several other experts who suggest that the act of recording the truth on film is fictionalizing in and of itself. Certainly, people raise their voice, and over here, the Puritans have been mentioned that they were of the view that in documentary movies, certain type of things have been uh, picturized and presented before the people that are objectionable, and and they have taken the misuse of, they have misused this genre. Then they then the thing what surfaced over here, that the act of recording the truth on film is fictionalizing in and of itself. It means that you cannot picturize the truth as itself. It is. According to the latter, when a documentary maker captures anything from a certain angle, he or she is actually using his or her own bias. Now, see, this is the most important thing. Now, see, we have hundreds of the examples regarding the same. Okay. Now it is up to the movie maker that I think that if you can recall in your memories such type of events which took place in Pakistan, that there was in Lahore, what happened that there was a Gulubat, and he had a means stick or certain type of other uh, thing in his hands. He used it as a weapon and was certainly breaking uh, the cars and etc. over there, and the police was shown uh, firing, direct firing on the people over there. Now, see that it is up to the movie maker that from which angle he is going to picturize the things. And it is up to the documentary maker that what type of thing he wants to focus and present to the people. And again, overall, he's a human being as well. So now see that over in documentary movies, we have certain type of things which are always involved. On the one hand, the idea or the thinking of a movie maker, documentary maker. On the other hand, there are so many other factors which are elements which are involved in it. Politics is there, society is there, other things are there. So over here, it has been called uh, a bias or the biasness. When it comes to putting together the filmed content, the filmmaker faces a critical choice of what to keep and what to leave. Now, see, filmmaker is always at ease and comfort, either to skip the things or to add the things. Okay, in such situation, in such situations, the filmmaker is likely to put together content so as to make something meaningful out of it. So content is there. On the one hand, we have pictures or photographs in documentary movies. Now see that picture presents something else. And if you want to add content over there, then certainly you are going to clarify the pictures and the situations as well. So now see that over here, but the critics argue that because part of filmed content is left out, which means that the documentary cannot be complete representation of truth and hence is fictions itself. So there are certain type of critics certainly, and they have criticized documentary movies as well, and they are of the view that it is not 100% based on the reality. We must note the distinction between filmmakers who filter out the content due to the constraints, but still try to provide as accurate as possible view of the case, and then there are filmmakers who deliberately edit the content so as to mislead the audience. So now see that filmmakers are always at ease and comfort to change the content, to change the content. Or for example, sometimes what happens that they present the things in such a way that the audience may only follow their point of view. Their point of view means the point of view of filmmakers. Why? Because they are the producers of content, or they are the changer of content. While the former is documentary in all respects. For example, if you means don't include such type of change of content, then the movie will be documentary movie in all respects. There can be a debate over whether the latter can be categorized as a documentary. No, we can debate the film or the movie if contents are the same or not changed. Becker provides an interesting analysis of the distinction between documentary fiction filmmaking. So here the name has been mentioned, and he has analyzed the distinction between documentary and movie. He suggests three key points. First, the clearness of the audio and visual information. He is of the view that audio and visual presentation must be very much clear, right? He suggests three key points. First, the clearness of audio and visual information. Second, one side of the relation between information and reality. That what is the difference between information and reality? Okay, information means the things are reported by others. For example, I want to, if I need any information regarding my classroom, regarding any presentation of my student, I'll certainly approach to your class fellows who are trustworthy. Trustworthy means that they may not tell lies. So what I'll do, I'll get information from them regarding any matter, regarding any issue. So one side of the relationship between the information and reality. So suppose if I'm given the information which is not based on reality, what will happen? Certainly, it will cause great confusion. Third, spectator play vital role by impose the pictures by them, and then the spectators are there. They also utilize their brains, their background knowledge and etc. So these are three most important points. So over here, time is running out. So that's why I'm going to stop over here. And after 10 minutes, we will certainly continue the same. And please, if anyone of you have a question, that you may write it down and you may ask me. Otherwise, I don't think that any question or anything is required to be explained more, because this is very, very easy topic. Okay, and over here, we will have to remember two things. Number one, fiction, other is reality. That's all.